In the mountain forest, Gabiru and Gobta are seen maneuvering through the trees searching for someone. Hakuro appears next to Gobta and attacks him, next quickly approaching Gabiru and doing the same. Left beaten, Hakuro reflects they rely too much on sight. Rimuru was taking a break from work drinking some tea brought by Shuna, but Shion also offers him the cookies she's baked. Shuna sneaks away, while Rimuru is left to face the monstrosity alone. Soe then appears to report that Geld is under attack. We see Geld as he clashes with an unknown ogre. The ogre rages that orcs are targeting the city of Tempest, clearly holding a grudge against them. Geld recognizes the man as an ogre by his horns and starts to hesitate. As the man summons flames, he hurriedly blocks with a shield. The man believes he's won, but Geld emerges from the tornado. He's confirmed the man's identity as a remnant of the ogre village he once destroyed, igniting the man's anger. The mistakes of the past has caught up to him, and accepting his fate, he drops everything. But before the sword could land, Benimaru interferes and he recognizes the assailant as his brother. Each are surprised the other is alive, and they are immensely happy to see each other. As they celebrate their reunion, the man states his name is Hiiro. He questions why Benimaru would protect an orc, but he replies that they have reconciled and is now an indispensable ally. Hiiro isn't pleased, but trusting Benimaru's judgment, he takes the initiative to apologize, and Geld also asks to be forgiven. The remaining clan members arrive, and they have a joyous meeting with everyone shedding tears. It must be pretty awkward to be Rimuru right now. Later that night, Hiiro formally meets with Rimuru, and we learn that he was their childhood friend from the same village. He was the adored older brother to everyone, and was considered the strongest among them. To help the village, he left to work as a mercenary with several others under the demon lord Clayman. In a flashback, upon learning that Clayman sent an orc army to destroy his village, Hiiro and his group immediately deserted to warn their home. In response, Clayman sent his men after them, and they get overwhelmed by the numbers, eventually leaving only Hiiro. He managed to disarm the leader, but it was pointless, as the man quickly finishes him off. Left for dead, the enemy leaves, but there were people watching from a distance. When he wakes up, he finds that he was saved by Toa, the queen of the kingdom of Raja. They had found him and his companions in critical condition, and brought them back to help, but there wasn't much hope. In order to save him, she gave him the name Hiiro to have him evolve, but at the cost of her own life force. Unfortunately, she was unable to do the same for the others, and they had passed from their injuries. He felt grateful, but he needed to return to his village. They tell him he had been unconscious for over 10 days, and this prompts him to quickly rush out, using a wyvern to swiftly fly back to his village. What awaited him was a scene of utter destruction left in the wake of the orc army marching through. Recalling moments in the past with his brethren, the devastated Hiiro swore revenge on the orcs for their sins. But that's all in the past now, and Hiiro is happy to see them alive and well. He tells them that he now serves the Queen of Raja, whom named him and saved his life. He explains that the kingdom was a small country that made its living by mining gold, but after the mines depleted, the queen would periodically use her life force to keep her people alive. The generations of mining caused the water to be filled with toxins, so Toa must use the power of the tiara passed down to purify the lake. But she goes over her limit and passes out. We learn that the tiara is cursed, and every time Toa uses it, the curse gradually seeps into the body until she eventually dies. This happened to generations of queens, but her condition is worse, especially after naming Hiiro. Without gold, the kingdom can't afford enough food to feed their people, and the queen would have to use her powers. It's a vicious cycle without a solution, so Hiiro suggests that they cultivate the forest of Jura, but the elders are afraid of offending the storm dragon Veldora, who guards the forest. They learn swiftly that a new nation called Tempest formed in the forest and negotiated with Veldora, so Hiiro insists he serve as a messenger to request help. This is what led to the fight with Geld. Listening to the circumstances, Rimuru doesn't mind, and even introduces him to Veldora in his human form. He seems to have no clue why people forbade entry into the forest, and gives his permission to cultivate it, earning Hiiro's thanks. The next day, the group heads off to visit the Raja Kingdom. While flying, Shion offers food to the soldier, and the miasma causes the wyvern to get knocked out. Rimuru manages to wake it up in time, but he notices something off about the water. They are introduced to the kingdom's ministers, but the elders are surprised by Rimuru's appearance, as they heard he was a slime. He shows them his true form, and they continue their talk about granting permission to use the forest. At that moment, the dryad trainee appears to offer her aid, and the elders are blessed by her presence. With the queen now awake, Rimuru and his group are introduced to her. He offers to try and heal her, and uses appraisal on her, but learns the curse can only be removed by the one who cast it. So long as she doesn't use the tiara anymore, she can gradually recover. Toa insists she needs to use it for her people, but Rimuru tells her he would take care of the situation. They head over to the lake and observe how toxic the water is. Even the air around the area is supposedly poisonous. Rimuru offers to remove the poison from the lake, but has his suspicions that it's not from the mines. He walks into the water and separates the lake, and what's revealed beneath is the source of the poison. He uses Devour to absorb all the liquid, and released the purified water back into the lake. Later that night, everyone is in celebration, but Rimuru wonders who placed the magic altar there. He could tell the magic was old, so he reasons it might be the same person who gave the cursed tiara to the kingdom. With everything settled, Hiiro offers his thanks, but Rimuru is happy to be of help and hopes to continue a good relationship with the kingdom. The kingdom begins to till the forest, and we are introduced to a merchant named Lakua, who seems appalled that the lake has been purified and that the queen is recovering. He was the one behind everything, and is furious his plan was ruined by a mere slime. But upon seeing an orb, he comes up with another plan. Back in Tempest, Rimuru is having a meeting with Diablo, a primordial demon, and his secretary. But Trainee suddenly appears to inform them that the poison came back even stronger, and Toa had used the tiara to help, causing her to collapse. Simultaneously, the neighboring kingdom is preparing to attack Raja as well. The cascade of events is suspicious, and Diablo has a guess as to who is behind it, so he leaves to investigate. At the palace, Hiiro watches over Toa as she is bedridden, and according to the doctor, she is too weak to be relocated. Feeling powerless, Hiiro wanders the halls when Lakua calls out to offer a solution to the problem. It's a secret technique that will allow two people to switch bodies with each other. Since Hiiro was named by Toa, they have a stronger connection with each other, which makes the pair suitable for this. There are risks, but Hiiro doesn't hesitate to save the queen, as his life is hers to take. Lakua then offers him the cursed orb, telling him it will help the ritual and asks him to swallow it. He then asks him to carry Toa, and they move locations to prevent any interference during the ritual. Rimuru teleports his group to the palace, but the minister tells him that Toa and Hiiro are missing. They use Rongda to track their location, but Rimuru receives a report from Soei that the neighboring kingdom is after their gold after some rumors spread. The ministers deny such claims as their minds dried up long ago. As the ritual is about to begin, Toa wakes up. When she learns of the ritual and that Hiiro might die in the process, Toa refuses to allow it. Hiiro doesn't want her to suffer, and he pushes to begin the ritual. But Lakua then mocks them and reveals there is no such convenient ritual. Instead, it's a scheme that will force Toa to use the tiara and die. Enraged, Hiiro charges at him, but Lakua activates the orb he swallowed, causing him to transform. Mentally unstable, he is reminded of his despair and agony of losing his friends and family by Lakua, and he begins to rampage. Lakua pushes Toa to use her power, but before she does, the floor collapses. Luckily Rimuru caught up to her. Benimaru blocks Hiiro, while Rimuru quickly chases after Lakua with Rongda. Lakua fires at them with magic, but it's no use, as they easily dodge and gradually catch up. Meanwhile, Diablo interrupts a woman enjoying her tea, and we learn she's another primordial demon named Violet. She calls him Noir, but he brags that his name is now Diablo. He questions her involvement with the Raja kingdom, and she reveals that centuries ago, Toa's ancestor called upon her to plead for her help. She was bored at the time, so she offered the tiara, and explained that by using it, it would grant her great power, but in exchange would curse her descendants. The queen only cared to save her people, so she accepted it. Violet also adds that eventually, when the body is corroded by her curse, that body will be taken over by her to manifest herself onto the world. It may not be this queen, but someday, her descendant will fall. Diablo points out it's a formal contract, yet she seems to be using her underling to force Toa into using the tiara, violating the pact. She is confused, but gets insulted at the accusation and transport them to another location as their talks end. Violet bombards Diablo with magic homing attacks, but he is able to keep away from them. The fight seemed to be at a standstill in the beginning, but she eventually tires out and notes Diablo has gotten stronger. She uses a strong binding magic skill to trap Diablo, and is confident she won, but he casually breaks out completely unscathed. He just felt like giving her a handicap. Time is up, and Violet's temporary body is falling apart. Her servants arrive to make peace as they confirm that Lacua has been acting behind the scenes to cause the neighboring kingdom to attack, and forcing Toa into using her tiara. This is in violation of her contract, so she voids the agreement and relinquishes any involvement with the kingdom. Back to Rimuru, they continue to chase Lacua until he falls into lava, but he reveals his demon form and flies away. Escaping the ruins, Hiiro continues his destruction on the town as Benimaru follows after him. Up in the sky, Lacua decides to fight Rimuru head-on, but his attacks are all casually blocked. He's eventually defeated, but Lacua threatens that his mistress will not forgive Rimuru. A light then appears in the sky, and Violet starts to scold Lacua for taking action on his own. She wished for the queens to willingly give up their bodies, but Lacua's actions ruined her fun, and she leaves him to his fate. Discarded, Lacua swallows an orb to take out everyone with him. His abundant energy runs wild, and he prepares to self-destruct, but Rimuru uses Devour to absorb the explosion before it does any damage. All that's left is to resolve Hiiro, but he is still out of control. Left with no choice, Benimaru decides to stop holding back. They cross blades, and it causes the bridge to collapse. Hiiro recovers, and he lunges at Benimaru, but Toa rushes between them, and he stops himself. He starts to come to his senses, and he stabs his chest to tear out the orb from his body. Hiiro returns to his original form, but he is dying as his body starts to turn into ash. Rimuru tries to save him, but this is the consequence of using the orb and nothing can be done. In his last moments, Hiiro thanks Toa for everything and his body crumbles apart. She refuses for it to end like this, and she uses the tiara's powers, begging for a miracle to the goddess. Hiiro's body slowly reforms, but the tiara shatters, and the curse runs unimpeded through her, causing her body to shatter. Hiiro despairs as he couldn't do anything for her in the end. However, Toa meets Violet, who tells her the contract is void, and as thanks for the entertainment she would help her. The light gathers as it takes Toa's form, and Hiiro welcomes her back. With everything finally resolved, the true celebration can now begin. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.